Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom means please be seated.
In ancient Aramaic.
In ancient Aramaic.
Got a lot of
What
past
a
presidents.
wonderful evening to be able to come together. On one hand, we get to celebrate a youth in our congregation taking her place as a bat mitzvah. And on the other hand, we're also able and blessed to come together to remember someone who is very dear to many of us, our beloved Rabbi Lester Frazen, who passed away about 2 weeks ago tonight. And to celebrate throughout, we have the choir's beautiful music to guide our voices and to guide our prayers as we come together tonight. So let's take a moment to just breathe, to let out whatever stress we may have carried with us during the week, any hassles with trying to find parking. I had no trouble finding a parking space. But anything that might have been wearing on us during the week. Because Shabbat gives us an opportunity to just shake that off and to be able to open ourselves to the blessings that are part of our life each and every day, blessings that too often we rush by without even taking time to notice them. So let's begin tonight with the choir leading us in Hine Matov Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. How good, how wonderful it is when brothers and sisters dwell together. Wonderful to be able to hear your beautiful voices. I know you want to clap, but we only clap for God on Shabbat. And how wonderful for you to bring the music of our beloved cantor Carl Nalawai into the sanctuary as well. So my favorite part of Shabbat is actually what we're about to do right now, which is create community. In order to create community, we have to know who we're sitting next to and who we're praying with. So I want to invite everybody to stand up and introduce yourself. Talk to at least 3 people you didn't know. Samantha, that you didn't know when you came in. an opportunity to gather and to chat again at the end of services. But the Sabbath Queen is knocking on the door and asking to come inside an air-conditioned building. Nancy and Art. Nancy and Art. Who was before Frazen? The one who moved. Nancy and Art. Nancy Bernheimer. Art Zimmerman. If Rabbi Hausman was here and he said, "Please be seated," what would we do? Oh, you would stand up? That's why I didn't ask Doris. I asked Nancy and Art because they're much better behaved. And not nearly as much fun. Is that better? We continue now with Lecha Dodi on page 138, and we'll be singing verses 1, 2, and 9, page 138. It is an absolute joy to be able to celebrate this bat mitzvah on this Shabbat. It's a joy not only because I adore Eleanor Meredith, but she comes from my favorite B'nai Mitzvah family, because where's her cousin who brings me the sand? No, you're okay. This is the fourth B'nai Mitzvah in this extended family, and each time I get a beautiful pastrami sandwich flown to me from New Jersey. When I explained to my son today, I thought they lived in New Jersey. For that I truly apologize.
It's from Canada.
When I explained to my son that I had my sandwich flown in from the East Coast, he's like, "How did you get that? How did you get that?" That is one of the perks of being a rabbi. So it truly grieves me, Eleanor, that you are the last in your family to be called to the bima. I expect when one of you get married, I'm going to get those sandwiches again. So, Eleanor, it's my pleasure to invite you to come join us along with your parents, with Neil and Erica, and your sister, Samantha, who I hope survived an excessive amount of AP exams today, and to do us the honor of lighting the Shabbat candles. The blessing for the candles could be found on page 120, but first we continue with Shalom Aleichem on page 142.
Shalom Aleichem. Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech
Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own way, be among those who kindle light.
Amen. Barchuni l'shalom, malachei shalom, malachei elyon mimelech, malachei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Seichem l'shalom, malachei shalom, malachei elyon mimelech, malachei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu.
Continue with the Hatzi Kaddish on page 144.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבי, ועמד יברח ירצה וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם לא מהמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה, שמי קדושה ברכו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו
Amen.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach, Le'olam Va'ed.
We continue together on the top of page 149. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. You guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim.
Ahava Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Ahavta, Amcha Ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otan limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu ושכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונזמח בדברי תורתך ומצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו אורי ימינו ובהם נגה יומם בלילה נגה יומם בלילה באהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמי ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל אוהב עמו ישראל אמן שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד 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 ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד
We continue together with the Ve'ahavta on page 154. Got it.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue together on the bottom of page 157. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth, The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Mi chamoka ba'eli Madonna, mi chamoka nectar ba'kodesh, nora tehilo osefele, nora tehilo osefele. Malachutecha ha'uvanecha, bokeaya nitne Moshe, ze eli anu ve'amaru, Chaimo le'olam. Lai 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 lai. V'nehemar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov ugalo miyad chazak mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
I want to invite up all of our B'nai Mitzvah students to come on up and to do us the honor of helping lead us in the Hashkivenu. The words are partially in our prayer book and partially in our hearts. Page 160.
I was playing right there, singing the run.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom, L'shalom. Ve'ha'amideinu Malkeinu L'chaim. Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha, Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us daily wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
We continue together with Vishamru on page 162.
Veshamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לטוב המרי. Israel, oti leolam, oti leolam. V'shamru b'nei Israel, השבת לעשות את השבת לתורותם בריא עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לתורותם בריא עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לתורותם בריא עולם.
Please rise for the tefillah on page 164.
Adonai, Sephatai tiftachu fi yagidei ilatecha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לפני פניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל, אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטב, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, צומק נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני,
We continue praying privately from page 172 through 180, either standing or sitting, as is your custom. When we offer the Misha Berach, we are reminded that the obligation is on our shoulders to do more than pray when somebody that we care about or someone in our community is in need of healing. We're not to be passive bystanders, because in some ways that's what prayer might make us. But rather, when we pray for someone, we should be reminded to be partners with God and to go into the world and to help with the act of healing. So if there are people on the healing list that you know, or people that you're praying for tonight who are in need of a refuah shlema, complete healing of body or spirit, please try to find the time between this Shabbat and next to reach out to them, to offer words of comfort, simply be with them if that's what they need, to make a nice casserole, or send them even a text so that they know that they're not alone. The words for the Misha Berach prayer can be found in our handouts.
Misha Berach Avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov. Misha Berach Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer. Hear our prayer. Hear our prayer. Hear our prayer. And bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May our hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Bless us with a vision for tomorrow. Help us to reach out to those in pain. May the warmth of friendship ease our sorrow. Give us courage, give us faith, show us the way. Misha Berach Avotenu, Misha Berach Imotenu.
Hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer. Hear our prayer. Hear our prayer. Hear our prayer. Hear our prayer. Hear our prayer. Hear our prayer. And bless us as well.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
For some of the people in this room tonight, the name Rabbi Lester Frazend is simply the name that they're used to seeing on our Shabbat flyers and programs each and every week, because some of them were not even born when Rabbi Frazend retired. But for others, the name Rabbi Lester Frazend makes us feel something, because he was a part of our lives. So we're going to do a little participatory session here. Stand up if Rabbi Frazend did your baby naming or your bris. I'm so hoping it wasn't the bris. Stand up if Rabbi Frazend welcomed you into Judaism. No, he did your kids' namings and brises, that I know. Stand up if Rabbi Frazend officiated at your bar. No, stay standing. If he officiated at your bar bat mitzvah. Stand up if he officiated at your confirmation. Stand up if he officiated at your wedding. Stand up if he officiated at the funeral or shiva minyan of a loved one. Stand up if you thought you were going in for advice and you heard about the Cubs. Stand up if you learned about Judaism or social justice, or how to be a mensch from Rabbi Frazen. For those of us who were blessed to know him, he was truly an important part of our lives. It's hard to sum up 90 years, and Rabbi Frazen came just a few months of completing 90 years, but he was in his 90th. And it was 90 years that he used in an exceedingly important way. And so, while we could speak tonight for the length of a Rabbi Frazen sermon, instead, I've asked two of his friends to speak with us tonight to share some memories. And it's my pleasure to first invite up Doris Patel and then Art Zimmerman to share some stories about their friend and their rabbi. He should. Right here.
Is this okay? Yeah. Good Shabbos, y'all. And thank you, Rabbi Alfie, for the honor and privilege of speaking about my friend, Rabbi Lester Frazen. I was on the Rabbinic Selection Committee when we interviewed Rabbi Frazen from Rockford, Illinois. I didn't think he was a good fit. He was boisterous and a bit loud. No good for us. We were used to quiet rabbis like Rabbi Arfa or Rabbi Wohl. He had opinions and was passionate about them. No, I said to my committee members, he's not a good fit. He also couldn't remember my name. He kept calling me Edie. I was so annoyed. On their first Friday night, they came to our house for a drink before going to the next home for dinner. Shireen went right into the kitchen, then into Lainey's room. She was at home in our home. We became fast friends. Okay, I said to myself, he'll do. I was sisterhood president and Lester had ideas. We always went to the Senator Hotel of blessed memory for the second Seder, and Lester thought we should have it at Temple. Shireen suggested that we cook it ourselves and make a little money for Sunday school. That was the beginning of my fundraising days. Then Shireen said, as Lainey was entering Sunday school, that we should have a family school and all in the family would be learning together. We finally had a Rebbitzin. In all due respect, Lynn. Our family school, we had first Havaraz. Families gathered for holidays and family celebrations, and it was wonderful. During Lester's first year, our old prayer book, that Pittsburgh prayer book, that little black prayer book, I don't know if anybody remembers, became obsolete. So we went off to Dallas in 1975 and ordered the new book, The Gates of Prayer, which we could hold a lot better than this book here. The prayers were the same, but there was so much more Hebrew, and the English was in the 20th century. Lester said, well, you'll get used to it, and we did. Shireen and Lester never forgot the generation of their parents. They, along with Sissy and Danny Goldstein, a blessed memory, began Senior Mondays, lunch, dancing, entertainment, and socializing, something good for the soul. About that time, he and Helen Merritt had a new concept, fill the downtown food closet. They made sure that our foyer was filled with food every Friday night. Then there was his compassion. After one of his first funerals, he called me from the house of mourning and said, there's no food here. Please bring some food. So I called a few friends and we brought food for the meal of condolence. Out of that became the bereavement committee. Lester made sure that every member of every family had a community around them supporting them. We couldn't just bring food. We had to stay and then, of course, clean up. He took care of everyone. Along the way, we became family, from Sheffield Drive to San Clemente Way, with Skipper Circle and Cabana Way in the mix. We raised our children together, celebrated B'nai Mitzvah together, laughed and cried together. Above all, we celebrated and loved one another. Lester and Shireen were here nearly 23 years. We were one big family. They made their mark and left us whole. When we had a going-away dinner for Lester, he thought we should have it at Temple. Well, the Temple was too small. We filled the grand ballroom at the Hilton Hotel, over 500 people. Lester said, "I hope we made a little money on this night." We did, Lester, we did. We had sponsors for the whole evening. We made money, Lester, a lot. May you rest on heavenly pillows in peace with your beloved Shireen. Thank you for all you did for all of us. Where's Art?
Hi, Shabbat Shalom. Thanks for being here and to celebrate Rabbi Frazen's life and to recognize his overarching life's goal of Tikkun Olam. And thanks to you, Rabbi, for inviting me to say a few words about my friend. I've been a member of CBI for about 50 years. The first half of as a regular member, and the last 27 years, ever since Rabbi Frazen retired, I joined Mosaic Law and continued my membership here as an associate member. Rabbi Frazen and Shireen were close friends since they first arrived at CBI. Our friendship was fostered like so many other long friendships over the kitchen and dining room tables of Stelly and Cy Opera. Stelly probably told them of the crazy Jewish couple who had 4 kids and a dog, and the rabbi and I and Shireen and my wife Beverly hit it off instantly. During his time as rabbi, he renamed my 4 kids, he officiated at our renewal of our marriage vows in Land Park with Ron and Linda Tochterman as witnesses, and married, and 4 bar mitzvahs, and married 3 of my 4 kids, and was with me in the surgery waiting room when the doctor came down and told me that my wife had spinal cord cancer. You know about Rabbi's greater community deeds, including marching with the other clergy at Selma. I just want to share just a couple of CBI episodes. As a result of his efforts, he persuaded the CBI board to sponsor and financially support the creation of the Jewish Young Couples Group with no strings attached. You didn't have to be a member. You didn't have to say you were going to join. You even included members of Mosaic Law at the time, which was unheard of. And you just had to be Jewish, or at least pretended to be Jewish. And he was astute enough to make sure that the president of the group was Dick Bernheimer, someone with a leadership experience extraordinaire. Members included couples that have become longtime friends for years: Joyce and Steve Weinberg, Linda and Ron Tochterman, the Patels, Karen and Martin Block, the Gores, Dick and Nancy Bernheimer. I could go on forever. The second contribution I'd like to talk to you about was his fundraising abilities. And in this case, he had the support of the very entrepreneurial president, Erwin Weintraub, and created the first Broadway show at CBI. And it was a moneymaker as well. The Fiddler on the Roof, of course, was a show, and Tevye was played by none other than Arlen Opera. Rave notices and, as they say, a fundraising success. Another fundraiser was a Roast the Rabbi event at Hanukkah, featured by some people, including myself, unfortunately, that did a number called 8 Nights of Hanukkah, but to the tune of the 12 Nights of Christmas. Needless to say, some CBI members thought that was irreverent. But the rabbi loved it. Lastly, when CBI's all-around maintenance person, Bob O'Brien, discovered a bomb planted in front of the stained glass windows of the old temple, the rabbi made sure that the following Friday was standing room only, and the press covered it and knew that we would not, as a community, be intimidated. In the last months of his life, Rabbi Fraser and I spoke often, twice, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. I talked to him the day before he died, and for the first time, he wasn't able to sing his favorite Stephen Sondheim song and his anthem, "I'm Still Here." I'll miss you, old friend. He was a great man. Thank you.
I will never forget the first time I met Shireen and Rabbi Lester Friesen. It was July of 1998, and I had just started at B'nai Israel. They were in town visiting friends, and they came to Friday night services. After services, they came up to me, introduced themselves, gave me big hugs, and welcomed me to the congregation. And then Shireen turned to her husband and said, "See, Lester, that's how long a sermon is supposed to be." I knew right away that I was going to like them both. My husband's family came to Sacramento at the same time as the Friesens, and I got to know them both through my husband's memories of his childhood rabbi and through the love and the support that my Rabbi Emeritus always gave me. First, let me share a little bit from my husband's family. When they came to town, they didn't know anyone. And the temple quickly, and see if you could find Glenn in one of the confirmation pictures coming up. My family didn't know anyone, and the temple quickly became the center of their social life. The social justice work that Rabbi Friesen spearheaded in the larger community was a source of pride to my husband's family and to this congregation. So when Rabbi Friesen asked my father-in-law to help head up the committee to help Vietnamese refugees, my father-in-law said yes, because he knew something that his son didn't. When a rabbi asks you to do something, you always say yes. But in all seriousness, the foundation of so much of the social justice work we do at B'nai Israel now is possible because of what our congregation was engaged in when Rabbi Friesen was here. Even as a young rabbi, he was fearless in stepping up and speaking the hard truths and fighting for justice. This wasn't easy to do for many rabbis in the 1960s and 70s, but Rabbi Friesen could never have stood back as a passive observer. He marched in Selma, he worked for voting rights, he welcomed the stranger, he built bridges between people of different faiths, he helped feed the hungry, he supported women's rights and helped teenage mothers. He lived his Jewish values in the public square and always strived to do what was right. But it wasn't just Rabbi Friesen's social justice work that endeared him to his congregants. When my husband's grandmother died in the middle of the night, he remembered Rabbi Friesen showing up and sitting with them until someone from the funeral home showed up. It was moments like that that made Rabbi Friesen beloved. When I attended Rabbi Friesen's funeral last week, I was shocked by something that was not mentioned. Of course, people spoke of his devotion to his family, his love of musicals, his passion for social justice, the doctorate he earned, and his love of being a rabbi. But not a single word was said about his love of the Chicago Cubs. One of the first things I learned about Rabbi Frazen was his passionate devotion to the Cubs and the live baseball updates he would receive during services, even on the high holidays. In 2016, when the Cubs beat the Indians in the World Series, I heard so many people say how happy they were for Rabbi Frazen, that he lived to see that. I would be remiss if I didn't say more about Rabbi Frazen meant to me personally. From the first time I met him, I felt loved. I valued my talks with him and the advice that he gave me. He and I had a special connection from serving the same congregation and understanding each other's world. And after hearing Doris tonight, I think I inherited his mouthiness or boisterousness. I am well aware, thanks Michael, Michael yells, and opinionated. I'm well aware that so much of the work that I've been privileged to do is because he paved the way for me so many years before. I will dearly miss our talks, his booming voice, his twinkling eyes, and him always ending every conversation with him asking me to give his love to the Rebbitzin. When his Rebbitzin passed, so did some of his light. The last few years were not the easiest on him physically or emotionally. But after 90 years of living life with zest, with courage, with love, may he rest in peace. Zichrono livracha. May the memory of Rabbi Dr. Lester Frazen forever be a blessing. There are multiple different versions of the Kaddish. There's the Chatzi Kaddish, there's the Kaddish that we say at the graveside, there is the mourner's Kaddish, but the first of all the Kaddishes, the oldest version of it, you can find a version of it on page 67, and it's called the Kaddish de Rabbanan, the Rabbi's Kaddish. The Kaddish began as a prayer that students would say for their rabbi when he died. It evolved into a prayer that we would say when a course of study was completed or at the end of an academic year. But today we remember our rabbi, Rabbi Frazen, and we sing this prayer in his memory.
For our teachers and their students and the students of the students, we ask for peace and loving kindness, and let us say Amen. And for those who study Torah here and everywhere, may they be blessed with all they need, and let us say Amen. We ask for peace and loving kindness, and let us say Amen. We ask for peace and loving kindness, and let us say Amen. We ask for peace and loving kindness, and let us say Amen. We ask for peace and loving kindness, and let us say Amen.
So you don't usually do that little fancy bit at the end. That was for Rabbi Frazen.
That was for Rabbi Frazen, because I think he would really have liked that.
Oh, yes, he would have. And now it is my pleasure to invite up the president of our congregation, Josh Masternardi, for some Shabbat announcements and greetings.
Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat Shalom.
and thank you to the choir and to Doris and to Art and Rabbi for helping honor Rabbi Frazen's legacy. He was physically here before my time, other than one Rosh Hashanah in the early 90s, interestingly, but I feel his impacts on CBI and our people, all around. I want to thank Rabbi Cantor and Michael for a wonderful service tonight, and a special mazel tov to Eleanor and to the whole Meredith family. Tonight, after services, join us for an oneg sponsored by the B'nai Mitzvah class in honor of Eleanor's bat mitzvah and by CBI in honor of Rabbi Frazen. Tomorrow morning, 9:30 Torah study in person and on Zoom, and 10:30 Shabbat morning services, including the bat mitzvah of Eleanor Meredith. Sunday is the last day of Kulanu for the year. I know everybody's excited for next year to begin. And including at the end of it, root beer floats at the end of the day by the Brotherhood, and an end of Kulanu pool party in the afternoon, so an exciting day. Next Shabbat, we have a threefer. It's Shabbat, Shavuot, and Confirmation. Join us for all the celebrations as the Confirmation class leads the Shavuot service. Saturday morning, the 27th, the Shavuot Yisker and Shabbat morning service. Monday, the 29th, Memorial Day service at the Home of Peace Cemetery. And then around that, we have a Thursday and Saturday of next week, we have a special scholar in residence program called Paper Midrash with, and I'm going to try for the name, Isaac and Rabbi Shana Brinyagard Bialik, who create new pathways into exploring Torah. A couple of the workshops, including fingerprint mosaic art workshop and Torah study with knives, which I've been assured has nothing to do with our actual Torahs. But check that out in the Hadashot. There are signups for that, and come join for those. Friday, June 2nd is Pride Shabbat, and we have a few lifelong learning events coming up. On next Saturday, the 27th, a play by Ron Tochterman called The Supremacy Clause. It's about the trial of Abraham for the attempted murder of Isaac. That's here at CBI. On May 30th, Tuesday, the Women of B'nai Israel are hosting a virtual tour on the history of Jewish women in America. And on Wednesday, May 31st, is the fourth session of Judaism and Entertainment, the Science of Storytelling Through Song, by our very own Michael Hersher. In other things, please submit your ballot for the Board of Trustees. We need everyone's ballots to make sure we have a quorum, and plan to attend the annual meeting on Sunday, June 11th for food, fun, and updates on all the goings-on in the synagogue. Camp Shalanu registration's open, also hiring counselors and looking for camp committee members. Camp Nefesh is looking for adult volunteers to drive, bring kids to camp and supervise and some more. And then an early preview, watch for info on Havdalah in the Hood. This was a popular program a couple years ago where you have a chance to go visit in different neighborhoods and get a chance to get together and meet some of the people that live near you. So that's a lot, but that's the goings on here. And now, Eleanor, if you'd like to introduce your family.
Related. My God. Shabbat Shalom. This is my mom, Erica. This is my dad, Neil. This is my sister, Samantha. These are my cousins, Aaliyah and Jillian. This is my Uncle Dave back here. And, my Aunt Melanie's in the back. My Grandma Marika is right here. And Grammy's back there. And Grandpa Larry over there. This is my cousin from Australia. Came all the way. Cousin from Maryland, thank you. Cousin from Washington and his family. Cousin from Canada, thank you. This is my great aunt and cousin from Florida. Back there is all family from New York, and great aunt from New York as well, and great aunts from Texas. Thank you.
Welcome, everybody.
And cousins from Wisconsin. Good job. We're good.
Samantha, you can stay standing because next I'd like to ask all members of the Board of Trustees, any committee chairs, and past presidents to stand and introduce themselves.
Past presidents.
Okay. I'm Samantha Meredith. I'm the busy president.
Bruce Tochterman, past president.
Judy Herscher, past president, and I had the honor of being the last president to serve with Rabbi Friesen in his final 2 years here.
Rachel Stern, VP of Education.
Robert Harris, past president.
I'm Steve Orkand, past president.
Dale Kassler, past president.
Jennifer Kaufman, past president and currently chair of the North American Board for the Union for Reform Judaism.
Judy Hyman, chair of our Racial Justice Committee and board member at large.
Jay Chenier, past president.
And
And future president. And board member.
Bina Lefkowitz, past president. Hope Rabinovitz, past president.
Jason Wiener, chair of social action.
Nick Zoffel, board member.
Greg Hubbs, past president.
I have no function. I'm just passing the mic.
Thanks, Blair. Eileen Saracen, I'm a board member at large.
Judy Emick Leatherwood, I'm the choir wrangler, and I schedule people to chant Torah on non-B'nai Mitzvah Saturdays.
And Laurel Tochterman, chair of Caring Community.
And I'm Michael Herscher. I'm the spouse of a past president and also the chair of the Lifelong Learning Committee.
All right, thank you, and Shabbat Shalom.
We actually have a minion of past presidents here tonight. I don't think I've seen that many of you since, at one time, since Yom Kippur. Yeah, you think it's funny.
I was just thinking we should just have them come up and stand.
Right.
We should have had that for the whole service.
It's my pleasure to invite up all our B'nai Mitzvah students again to the Bima with their prayer books and to do us the honor of leading us in the Aleinu, which can be found on the bottom half of page 586. Please rise.
Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu
ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא,
שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת זו בגובי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבותה אל לבבך. כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר והיה
Our thoughts now turn to loved ones who are no longer with us. And it is our tradition to welcome back those into our midst who have most recently said goodbye to a loved one. It is with heavy hearts that we welcome into our midst tonight Peggy Goldstein and Rachel, are you still Goldstein? And Rachel Goldstein, upon losing your very beloved David Goldstein, Peggy's husband and Rachel's father. David was an extraordinary man, truly a Renaissance man, brilliant in science and music, a lover of nature, and just truly an all-round mensch, a good and decent human being. He will be greatly missed, I know, not only by his family, but all of his friends and all of us who were lucky enough to know him. And our condolences to you and to your extended family on this sad occasion. Jim, it's also with sadness that we welcome you back into our midst tonight after losing your beloved sister, Roberta Margolis. It's a hard thing to lose a sister. They know a part of us, our siblings know a part of us that nobody else does. I disagree, my husband and I argue about this, about Freud's model of who influences a person most. Freud talks about the parent-child relationship, the Torah talks about siblings relationship. The whole book of Genesis is devoted to siblings. They help us understand the world, they teach us how to argue, they teach us how to love, they teach us how to negotiate. They're our first friends, and it's a painful thing to lose a peer like that, and our condolences to you. Also, with great sadness, we recall the recent passing of Herman David Levy, the beloved brother of Marcia Ruth and beloved uncle of Miranda Fram. Also, with sadness, we recall the recent passing of Howard Michaels, the beloved brother of Burl Michaels and beloved brother-in-law of John Bach. And tonight, we mourn together the passing of Rabbi Lester Frazen, beloved husband of the late Shireen Frazen, loving father of Michael and Joel and Shauna Frazen, beloved father-in-law to Patty and to Phil, and a beloved grandfather to Rebecca and to Aaron, and a doting great-grandfather to Spencer and to Oliver. He was also the beloved brother of Rabbi Robert Frazen and beloved Rabbi Emeritus to our congregation. Zichronam livracha, may all of their memories forever be a blessing. We also recall loved ones who have passed away at this time in years past. We remember David Albert, Alfred Appel, Etole Ayech, Muriel Bach Diamond, Shirley Bamberger, Zoe Berkowitz, Najima Shatrit, Robert Cohen, Albert Cahotis, Samuel Creven, Eugene Dworkin, John Eisen, Jerry Eisenberg, Helen Gumpert Forster, Art Goldwagen, Madeline Green, Etta Greenberg, Gordon Griffin, Carmela Grimaldi, Israel Haberman, Alice Hillard, Hattie Himmelreich, Evelyn Hooker, Eva Horowitz, Isaac Jacobs, Lillian Caldor, Faith Collar, Lillian Capel, Marlene Kurtz-Fowler, Adeline Lerner, Margaret Lipman, Andrew Letter, Meyer Mendel, Blanche Mendel, Marilyn Mendelson, Josephine Miller, Ruth Miller, Hilda Novick-Freitz, Raymond Pettengel, Samuel Rabinovich, David Salwin, Adolf Schwartz, Leo Shemansky, Sarah Tall, Millard Tonkin, Seymour Ulancy, Dora Volin, Mimi Wacholder, Leonard Wangro, Jean Wilson, and Bella Zimmerman. If there are any names that anyone would like to add to the Kaddish list tonight, please feel free to call those names aloud as my gaze meets yours. like to invite those who are saying Kaddish for a loved one tonight to please rise. And if the congregation can please join me in these words of comfort. Hamakom yenechem etchem betok sha'ar of Leit Zion v'Yushalayim. May God comfort you among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. We rise to offer comfort to those who grieve as we continue together with the Mourners Kaddish on page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chai echon uvyom echon v'chayei techol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru, amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam umei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, v'yitzedar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei tekud b'richu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, damiran ve'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom v'imramav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, and let us all say, amen. So I have to let you in on a little secret. We changed tonight's closing song at the last minute this afternoon because I had originally had the bright idea of bringing a little levity to tonight and having the choir sing one of Rabbi Frazen's favorite songs, which was Lydia, Oh Lydia. And then last night I finally read all the lyrics and went, oh my, that is not appropriate in a sanctuary. And yet.
That's the most ridiculous thing ever.
So, you realize they have no idea what you're talking about. And so the choir very graciously at the last minute substituted Lydia, Oh Lydia, the tattooed lady, with another favorite of Rabbi Frazen's song. It's a little easier than Sondheim to sing, so I hope you all know the lyrics and will join with us.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jacks. I don't care if I ever get back. Let me root for the Dodgers. It's a shame, for it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out the old ball game. One more time. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jacks. I don't care if I ever get back. Let me root for the Dodgers. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out of the old ball game. We're assimilated or what?
We could have done it in Yiddish like Mandy Patinkin. We conclude our service with the Kiddush and the Motzi. Afterwards, I hope everyone joins us for the delicious and huge oneg that awaits us in the social hall. Oh, in the courtyard. The beautiful oneg that awaits us in the courtyard. The Kiddush can be found on page 123. Make it last. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצנו בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת אמן לחיים
Shalom. Rachamim.
Good mom. Ooh, very sweet. Very, very sweet. Ooh, ah. I think now there are so many folks in our congregation that think that is a requirement before the Motzi. Or they think it's Hebrew or Yiddish.
I think I've seen that kahal challah before.
No, this is a newer challah.
Oh, is
So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about or have not been at services since COVID, we have changed our tradition so that we no longer all touch and then eat what so many people have touched. So we use this challah for blessing purposes only. I would not recommend coming up and eating any afterwards. Rather, I would recommend the beautiful, fresh challah that has not been touched by 100 people. That will be waiting for you at the oneg.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Shabbat shalom.
The teva.